Hello, hello, my magical friend. It is Tuesday, time for our live chat. And so I welcome you to this installment. Bet you didn't know you could ask this question. Ha. So, as you can tell, the kiddos, I'm being brave this afternoon, and the kiddos were insisting that they be in the room today. So there's Crosby, aka Puddle. Hello, my friend Neely. Rick's just left. The littles are over there in their beds. They actually tend to be quieter when they're in the room with me than hearing stuff around the house, right? Those littles can make a lot of noise. So anyway, it is August 4th, 2020, Summer of Superpowers. Hello, Kim. Thanks for joining us. And I bet you didn't know you could ask this question. Is our superpower of today? So I touched on it if you caught the last video I put out. It wasn't live. I just put out a little video. I think it was like 4 or 5 minutes long. And we talked about what would your life be like in... Hi, Karina. She says, I love it when I get notifications that you're live. I know, Facebook rocks, huh? So thank you. And if you are not getting notifications and you would like it, all you have to do in the comments is type in remind, and Spotbot will let you know. And if you got a notification from Spotbot, he just got an upgrade. He is so stinking cute. My part of my world team, Keisha, who is usually, there she is. I just saw her face pop onto a heart and then pop. I don't know, found him, or he came to her. So hi, Keisha. So Spotbot got an upgrade. So if nothing else, write remind in the comments just so you can see him, because he's so stinking cute. So stinking cute. Okay. Anywho, superpowers. Back to superpowers. And we touched on it on the video that I last posted on what would your life be like in 5 years. So what if you can now, with that superpower, tap into the future? With your animals, with your work, with your choices, because choices all create. And every choice creates. Now what it creates, that, my friends, means you have to choose to find out. I was listening to another facilitator and she was talking about choice creates, because it's not a concept that's always talked about in this reality. And she described it as, to find out what's around the corner, you're actually going to have to go around the corner. You're going to actually have to choose it. So I love that for choice creates in the future. And this question, we love our questions around here in Dr. Andy's world. What would my life be like in 5 years? And so whenever I ask a client in a session that question, they're like, okay, so what do I want in 5 years? No, that is not the question. What's it going to be like if I do this in 5 years? No, that's not the question. The being part of it is what you would like your life and living the energy of it. It's not, I want a white Ford SUV and 2 Labradors and I want to live on this block and in this type of house. It's not the specifics, it's the energetics of what you would like your life to be like in 5 years. And we use 5 years because you can't wrap your brain around it. Your mind can't get involved. Actually, you need your brain. Your brain runs your body. Right? Your brain hooks all the nerves, tells you when you gotta go to the restroom, when your foot hurts. I mean, you need a brain. Your mind, the thing you use to think with, what if we just bypassed that? Because your mind has been conditioned to only see a small part of the box and make sure you stay safe within that box. Make sure you, yes, the brain, yes, we do need a brain. Good job, brain. and stay safe within this box, these parameters. And hence why our minds don't like us when we're uncomfortable. They're constantly trying to pull us back into these parameters that it's decided, that you have decided, from whatever, family conditioning, relationship conditioning, past lifetimes, whatever the parameters are of your box, of your mind. And so stepping out of that box, stepping past your mind into the uncomfortable, it's going to work really hard to pull you back in. So if you go to 5 years, your mind's like, oh, I could tell you 5 minutes. I could tell you 5 weeks. We could look at maybe a year, 2 years, but 5, I can't help you. So you just went past the mind into the realm of energetics. And that is the being. The being. What would you like your life to be like in 5 years? Okay. So the featured, and that question came out of the featured podcast that was on Friday. Oh, and I don't think I introduced myself. If you don't know, if you don't know who I am, I'm Dr. Andy. And welcome to my world. There was a little cat butt just went that way. Sam's been in quite a mood today. He's been very cuddly and purry and talky. So he's here to contribute to all of you too. Anyway, the featured podcast on the radio show, and it's a featured podcast because we're on our break. We're in between season 2, gearing up for season 3. We're getting pretty excited. Was all about puppies. And I love talking about puppies. And I actually, if I had my preference, would love to talk about puppies before they showed up in your home. And ask these questions before the puppy showed up in the home. Right? And how many of you, the last time you added to your pack, and we're going to just stick to puppies today. I mean, it could be a kitten, a cat, a grown dog, a senior, you know, extrapolate as you need. But we're going to talk about puppies. The last time you added a puppy, did you ask the pack, is now the time or later? Right? And which one was lighter? Which one created more space? Which one made you go, and what if that is the energetic awareness you are looking for, that then if you choose to follow that energy, will create? And if you're following the energy and you're being congruent, what if that creates the best chance for creating more? Okay. And so we start with, ask the pack, now or later. Ask the family members, the peoples, now or later. And if everybody's like, and another way you can present it to people that maybe don't listen to me is, okay, what is your gut telling you? And a lot of times people will just spit out, oh, now. Okay. Then, okay, we're going to get a puppy now. Cool. Now what? Which is not a half awful question. Now what? And if there are already animals in the home, get them involved. Get them involved, get them involved, get them involved. Have them bring the being they want to live with to you. This one's going to require some patience on the people's side of things, because they're going to do the work, the energetic work. You get to breathe and be aware of what shows up, what hits show up. Oh, I got to call this lady. Oh, I got to go in over here. Oh, this person has some information for me. It's family meeting. Fur babies get a vote. And if you're in those folks that are in no rush whatsoever, like, I get now for this puppy. I've got so many things on my plate. You can give the whole job over to the dogs. Give it over to the pack. You bring me the being you want to live with. And even if you know it's a later, you can hand that over to them. You bring me the being when it's time that you would like to live with. Bring them to me. And then don't do anything. This is where that being comes into play again. You just get to be. Be aware. Be in communion. Be in communication with your animal. See who shows up with what and what information and what the journey is like. So my point of view is never get a puppy or another dog for another dog. I thought they'd like it. Key word, thought. You were thinking about it. You were inside that mind, inside that box of what you think the animal would like. You are thinking that's what the animal wants. You are thinking that's what's going to work out best. And that is not going beyond that mind into the energetics. Okay, you lose a dog. Is it time to bring another dog in or a puppy into this pack? Now or later. Start there. Start there. Now or later. Later. Okay, cool. That later could be in 2 days. That later could be in 2 years. Again, not giving your mind something to noodle on, to do that monkey mind stuff with, to do your pros. Who does a pro and con list for any kind of decision? You know, mostly your bigger decisions, which I would think getting a new animal in the house is a pretty big decision. You know, pro and con list. Who's a pros and con list king, queen? Nobody's admitting it. But that's how I was told how to decide what's the right thing to do, is to do a pro and con list. And if you got more on the pros, you go and you do it. If you get more on the cons. Okay, so what if we crumple that up, throw it over the shoulder, we're done with the pros and cons list. Yeah, Keisha says, yep, everything. Used to do that with everything. Everything. And damn, it gave my mind so much crazy to play with, right? Because, okay, you think it's a pro, but the rest of the family thinks that one thing is a con. Now who's right? Oh my goodness. And the judgment and the rightness and the wrongness and is this correct? And what's going to happen here? And now, what if? Is now the time, now or later? Have your pack involved in bringing that being to you that they would like to live with. And once that being shows up, like, okay, you're now sitting in the room. You have your 2 other dogs with you and you're visiting, however that works. You're at the breeders, you're at the shelter, you're at the park, whatever. What would, if I bring this being home, what would my life be like in 5 years? And if I don't bring this being home, what would my life be like in 5 years? That is the practical way to use that tool, that superpower. And whatever is lightest, you now have the choice. Do you follow the energy or you don't? I didn't even see it, Jen. Hi, Jen. Neely says, I don't do pros and cons. I do. Can I afford it? That might be a different call, right? What will this cost me? How can I pay for this? And so a good question. Thank you, Neely. Hashtag Ask the Future. There's Jen's head just popped on by, but I didn't get any comments. I love it. Okay, sorry. There she is. Hi, Jen. A great question for that is, if money wasn't the issue, what would you choose here? And you could do that for printers, televisions, puppies, jobs. You know, if money wasn't the issue here, what would I choose? So you can file that away in a little extra question. So thank you, Neely. So now back to our being in front of us, interacting with your pack or some of the members of your pack. You know, some of us have so many we can't lug them all there, but maybe the one that is, you can even ask. Let's even just go with that. You just ask, who's your representative? And whoever pops for that or steps forward or makes the biggest stink or whatever it looks like that day, they get to go. They get to be the representative for the pack. And they're quote unquote interacting well. Okay, what would my life be like in 5 years if I bring this being home? What would my life be like in 5 years if I don't bring this being home? And in that featured podcast, I talked about my journey, and it is still ongoing with my two puppies who are now 4 years old. And I did not ask that question when I brought in Crosby. I did, however, fast forward 16 months old when they would, I'm still calling it randomly. I know there's an energetics here that I have not identified yet. And at some point, Riggs may clue me in, he may not. When they were fighting, I did ask, what would my life be like in 5 years if I rehome Crosby? What would my life be like if I don't rehome? It be like in 5 years if I don't rehome Crosby? And it was always lighter for him not to be rehomed. But I kept asking through this whole process, and I kept asking them what is required here. I kept asking them what's going to contribute here. And I also made demands of them that I am not living in a household where two big male dogs fight. I don't do that. And so I am the dominant being. I go to work to make all the money. So that you can have some demands and question, and what would my life be like in 5 years if I do X, Y, Z? What would my life be like in 5 years if I don't do X, Y, Z? And whatever's lighter, whatever's bubbly, whatever's happier, whatever made you smile, whatever that looks like for you, you then have another choice. You can follow that energy, or you can choose something else. You can still choose not to follow the energy, and that will also create. We grew up with this, at least I grew up with, your consequences, right? Your action. I can never get this stupid saying right anymore. It's so funny. Your consequences to your actions, right? There was always consequences to your actions. There was never a choice creates. There was never a space, a freedom even to, hey, try that. See how that works out for you, right? Parents love to tell you, if you do this, this is what's going to happen. We usually went off and did it anyway, and usually that's what happened because now, points of view and all that. But what if the people that at least I grew up with went, cool, yeah, you choose that. What will that create? And what if that allowed me to go, what would I like my life to look like? What choices do I want to make? Because what do I want to create? A lot more empowering. A lot more empowering. And what if the question, this superpower of tapping into the future, that's what this is. We're tapping into the future. We're bypassing the mind and tapping into the future. How freaking cool is that? What would I like my life to be like in 5 years? The energetics of it. And because you go 5 years, your mind can't tell you. Okay. Oh, and one last little thing, and I don't know if it was in the show. I did listen to the show. That was my commitment on the off season. Don't ever, this is kind of a side point, I feel like I harp on this, and maybe I do, and maybe I still need to do more. I don't know. Interesting points of view, blah, 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 blah. Anywho, don't get a dog for another dog. Involve them in the process like we talked about. Because I may have talked about it even here, but I thought they would like one. So I went out and got him a dog. My favorite story on this one, I haven't seen this client in a long time, but she got some bulldogs. So, really easygoing, happy, easy dogs, right? And being facetious there. They're called bulldogs for a reason, and they happen to be English bulldogs. And she had a female. Single dog, very alpha female, nice enough dog, but very alpha female. And she decided that this dog needed another dog. So she went out and got a puppy, a boy puppy bulldog. And fight. So in the process of like my body work and our visits, and there were a handful of visits, I'm like, this just kind of pours out of me. You need to apologize to her. And Mom's like, for what? I'm like, for getting her that puppy. But Mom's like, I thought she'd like it. I go, yeah, you thought that, but you didn't ask. And she's like, well, I'm not getting rid of him. I'm like, I get that. So on a daily basis, she would like you to apologize for bringing him home. And I don't know if she did that or not, but this dog was so animate about, Mom needs to apologize about this a lot. And it wasn't even, it wasn't even that she disliked this dog. Like sometimes beings just do not like each other from past lifetime stuff or whatever stuff they've decided. And sometimes we can work on that, sometimes we can't. But this wasn't even that. She was just so ticked that she was not included in the choice. And she really would have chosen just to be a single dog with lots of, you know, playmates that she got to play with, but came home to not another being. So like I said, I haven't seen them in a long time, but that was so funny. That was so cool to get that information from that dog. Like, she just needs to apologize every single day for this. And it kind of matched her personality of, yeah, you're going to pay for that. She had that energy to her. And I know it's a dog, but she did. She kind of had that energy. And if, you know, I wonder if everything would have just went, whoo, if Mom had just did it. And not snotty. She didn't have to buy it as true either. And not, no, I'm sorry, not snotty. But truly, like, yeah, I'm sorry. Next time, you know, and she could deal and deliver and go, next time I will include you. Maybe we shouldn't push it on that one, but, you know, yes, I am sorry. I brought this dog home without your permission. Right? Like, anywho, okay, so today's chat, I hope you enjoyed it. Got a little off topic, not too much, but it is a summer of superpowers, and today was, what would your life be like in 5 years if you choose this? And I showed you some practical ways to use that with the animals. You can extrapolate away to job, to children, to money, to printers, to TVs, like however you'd like to play with that question. So what if this superpower is tapping into the future? What if you now can tap into the future? How cool is that? Okay, so this Friday on Inspired Choices Network, another featured podcast. That is August 7th. I don't know if I just said that or not. Beyond vaccinations. So my dear friend, Dr. Judy J. Sick, and I will be chatting about vaccinations and going beyond them and what else is possible with, for, and about them. What if you educated yourself on what you are willing to do with your animals when it comes to vaccinations, not just blindly following what is expected in this reality? You're welcome, Keisha. And of course, if you want to check out the new Spot Bot, I highly recommend it. In the comments, write in remind, and he'll automatically pop up in your Facebook Messenger. It's like bloody magic, this technology. So loving it. And so grateful Keisha also loves to play with it, because I like to see the results more than I like getting in there down and dirty. And also, if you, there's a kitty. I don't want to knock the camera. Also, if you have any other weirdo pet parents out there that might enjoy a really strange conversation, I invite you to sprinkle this around to your friends. Would love them to start playing with their future too, and playing with the future of their animals. And how does it get even better? Okay, I will be back next Tuesday. I think that's the 11th, and we'll have another superpower. how does it get even better than that? I invite you to continue playing with your superpowers. We all have them, and we all have them with our animals. And what can that create for you and your pack? Until next time, how much fun can you have with your animals? Mwah! Bye-bye.